A Radio Canada investigation may have you thinking twice the next time you're at the grocery store.
Buying meat seems simple. You walk into a grocery store, pick a package, check the date, and you're done. But what if the most important decision isn't what cut you choose? It's where you buy it from? Because here's the reality most people don't think about. Not all grocery stores handle meat the same way. Behind the scenes, there are huge differences in sourcing, storage, turnover, and quality control. Some stores move through inventory quickly, meaning fresher products, better texture, and safer handling. Others, they operate on thinner margins, slower turnover, or less strict processes. And that's where problems can start. We're talking about meat that's been sitting longer than it should, packages that look fine on the outside but don't hold up once you open them, inconsistent cuts, questionable freshness, even differences in how products are stored or displayed. And here's what makes it tricky. Most of these issues aren't obvious. You won't see a warning sign. You won't hear an announcement. Everything looks normal until it isn't. Now, to be clear, this isn't about saying a store is always bad or always good, because a lot depends on location, management, and how busy a store is. But when patterns start to show up across multiple locations, it's worth paying attention, because when it comes to meat, you're not just buying food. You're trusting how it was handled before it ever reached your cart. So in this video, we're breaking down 6 grocery stores where you might want to think twice before buying meat, and 5 that are surprisingly better than people expect. Because once you understand what to look for, you won't shop the same way again. 1. Dollar Tree. Let's start with Dollar Tree. Now, most people don't even think of Dollar Tree as a place to buy meat, and that right there is your first clue. Because when a store's primary business isn't groceries, especially not fresh groceries, meat quality becomes a secondary priority. What you'll usually find here is frozen, prepackaged meat products. And while frozen meat isn't automatically bad, it's all about how it's handled before it gets to you. Dollar Tree operates on extremely tight cost margins, which means sourcing is focused on the lowest possible price. And when price becomes the main priority, quality, consistency, and sourcing transparency can take a back seat. Then there's turnover. In many locations, frozen food doesn't move as quickly as it does in full grocery stores. That means products can sit longer in freezers. And over time, that affects texture, flavor, and overall quality. You might not notice it immediately, but once cooked, the difference shows. It's not necessarily unsafe, but it's also not where you want to rely on for consistent, high-quality meat. 2. Family Dollar. Next, Family Dollar. Very similar situation, but with a few added concerns. Family Dollar stores often carry frozen meat options, sometimes refrigerated items depending on location. But here's the issue: infrastructure. These stores aren't designed as full grocery environments. Limited refrigeration space, smaller storage areas, less specialized equipment, and that impacts how meat is stored and maintained. Another factor is staffing. Grocery stores usually have dedicated departments for meat handling. At Family Dollar, employees are managing everything: stocking, checkout, inventory. That can lead to less attention on temperature control and rotation. And with meat, those details matter. Even small inconsistencies in storage temperature can affect quality over time. So while it may be convenient, it's not the most reliable place to buy something as sensitive as meat. 3. Save a Lot. Now, Save a Lot. Unlike the first two, Save a Lot is actually a grocery store, so expectations are higher. But it still operates on a deep discount model, and that model comes with trade-offs. To keep prices low, stores often focus on bulk purchasing and cost-efficient sourcing. That doesn't automatically mean poor quality, but it does mean less consistency. Customers have reported variation in meat quality from location to location. Some stores offer decent products, others, not so much. Another issue is presentation and handling. Because margins are tight, there's less room for premium packaging or advanced processing. So what you see is what you get. And if turnover is slow, freshness can become a concern. It's not that you can never find good meat here. It's that you have to be more cautious and more selective. 4. Food. 4. Less food. 4. Less operates on a warehouse-style, no-frills model. Low prices, minimal staffing, high efficiency. But here's the trade-off: less hands-on quality control. These stores rely heavily on pre-packaged meat rather than in-store butchering. And while that's common in many chains, it reduces the level of inspection and customization. Another factor is store environment. High traffic, fast turnover, and minimal staffing can sometimes lead to inconsistent organization. And when meat isn't rotated properly or stored under ideal conditions, quality can drop. Again, not always, but often enough to notice patterns. It's a store built for value, but when it comes to meat, value isn't the only thing that matters. 5. Piggly Wiggly. Let's talk about Piggly Wiggly. This is one of the oldest grocery brands in the US with a strong regional presence. But here's the challenge: inconsistency. Because many Piggly Wiggly stores are independently owned, quality can vary widely. Some locations are excellent, clean, well-stocked, high turnover. Others, not at the same level. And when it comes to meat, consistency is critical. Different suppliers, different handling practices, different standards, all under the same brand name. That makes it harder to predict what you're getting. So while some locations may be perfectly fine, others may not meet the same expectations, and that uncertainty is the key concern. 6. Walmart. Finally, Walmart. Now this one might surprise people because Walmart is one of the largest grocery retailers in the world, and in many ways, it's extremely efficient. But scale creates its own challenges. Walmart moves massive amounts of meat every day, which sounds like a good thing for freshness, but it also means heavy reliance on centralized sourcing and standardized processing. That can lead to consistency, but not always quality. Customers often report variability in meat texture, appearance, and overall freshness. Some cuts are excellent, others feel lower grade. Another factor is packaging. Many Walmart meat products are pre-packaged and sealed, which limits your ability to inspect the product closely before buying. And because the focus is on keeping prices low, that often means tighter margins and compromises somewhere in the process. Again, it's not always bad, but it's not always reliable either. And when it comes to meat, reliability matters. 7. Costco. Let's start with one of the most trusted names for bulk quality, Costco. Costco has built a reputation around consistency, and when it comes to meat, that reputation matters. One of the biggest advantages here is turnover. Costco moves massive volume every single day, which means meat doesn't sit around for long. High turnover, fine, fresher product. Then there's sourcing. Costco is known for maintaining strict supplier standards. From USDA grading to traceability, there's a level of control that many discount stores simply don't match. You'll also notice something else: packaging. Clean, well-sealed, clearly labeled. That transparency builds trust. And while Costco is known for bulk quantities, that can actually work in your favor because bulk buying often means fewer handling steps and better consistency across products. It's not the cheapest option up front, but in terms of quality per dollar, it's one of the most reliable places to buy meat. 8. Whole Foods Market. Next. Whole Foods Market. This is where quality becomes the main focus. Whole Foods is known for stricter standards when it comes to sourcing. No antibiotics in certain products, no added hormones in many cases, clear labeling, transparency, and for customers who care about where their meat comes from, that matters. Another major advantage is in-store handling. Many locations have trained butchers. That means better cuts, better preparation, and more attention to detail. You're not just picking up a package, you're getting something that's been handled with care. Yes, prices are higher, but you're paying for consistency, sourcing standards, and quality control. And for many people, that trade-off is worth it. 9. Publix. Let's talk about Publix. Publix is one of those chains that quietly does things right, especially when it comes to meat. One of its biggest strengths is store-level consistency. Publix invests heavily in training and operations, which means meat departments tend to be well managed. Clean displays, proper rotation, fresh presentation. Another key factor, customer service. If you have questions, you can actually ask someone behind the counter, and that's something you don't get everywhere. Publix also focuses on balancing price and quality. It's not the cheapest, but it's not premium level expensive either. It sits in that middle ground where reliability meets value, and that's why so many customers trust it. 10. Trader Joe's. Now, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's does things differently. Smaller stores, curated selection, private label focus, and that approach actually helps with meat quality because instead of overwhelming customers with options, they focus on fewer products done well. That means tighter control over sourcing and inventory, less variation, more consistency. Another advantage is turnover. Products move quickly, especially in busy locations, so meat tends to be fresher compared to slower moving stores. Packaging is also simple and clear. No confusion, no excessive processing. Trader Joe's isn't about bulk or customization. It's about reliability. And for many shoppers, that's exactly what they want. 11. H-E-B. Finally, H-E-B. If you know H-E-B, you already know. This is one of the strongest regional grocery chains in the US, and their meat department is a big reason why. H-E-B focuses heavily on local sourcing and quality control, which means fresher products and better traceability. Many stores have full-service butcher counters, custom cuts, fresh preparation, knowledgeable staff, and that level of service makes a difference. There's also strong internal quality standards. From how meat is stored, to how it's displayed, to how quickly it's rotated, everything is optimized for freshness. It's not just about selling meat, it's about doing it right. 12. Kroger. Let's start with Kroger, one of the largest grocery chains in the US. And when it comes to meat, scale can actually work in your favor. Kroger has invested heavily in supply chain control and private label programs. That means more oversight from sourcing all the way to the shelf. One standout is their store brands like Private Selection and other tiered offerings. These give customers options, from budget-friendly to more premium cuts. Another major advantage is consistent inventory turnover. Because Kroger stores are busy, meat products move quickly, and faster movement usually means fresher product. There's also a growing focus on transparency, better labeling, clearer sourcing information, improved packaging. Now, not every location is identical, but overall, Kroger has built a system that prioritizes reliability, and in grocery retail, that consistency matters more than anything. 13. Safeway. Next, Safeway. Safeway operates in a similar space to Publix and Kroger, but with a strong focus on balanced quality and accessibility. One of its strengths is structured meat programs, clear grading, organized displays, consistent portioning. That makes it easier for customers to know what they're buying. Another key factor is in-store standards. Safeway stores typically maintain solid refrigeration systems and proper rotation practices, which directly impacts meat freshness. There's also a mix of prepackaged and service counter options. So you can either grab something quickly or ask for a custom cut. That flexibility adds value. Safeway may not always be the cheapest, but it offers a level of dependability that many shoppers rely on. 14. Wegmans. Now, Wegmans. If there's one word that defines Wegmans, it's quality. Wegmans is known for going beyond basic grocery standards, and that shows clearly in their meat department. They focus heavily on premium sourcing, proper aging, and presentation. You'll often find better marbling, cleaner cuts, and more consistent quality. Another big advantage is staff expertise. Employees are trained to understand products, not just stock them. So if you have questions, you get real answers. Wegmans also invests in store layout and cleanliness, which might not seem directly related to meat, but it reflects overall operational discipline. And disciplined stores tend to handle perishable products better. It's not the cheapest option. But if you're looking for near butcher level quality in a grocery setting, Wegmans is one of the best. 15. Aldi. Let's talk about Aldi. And this one surprises a lot of people, because Aldi is known for low prices, but low price doesn't always mean low quality. In fact, Aldi's limited selection model works in its favor. Fewer products means tighter control over sourcing and inventory, and that leads to more consistency. Their meat section is smaller than most stores, but it's curated. You're not overwhelmed with options. You're given a focused selection. Another advantage is high turnover. Popular items sell quickly, which helps maintain freshness. Packaging is also straightforward and efficient. No unnecessary extras, just clear, sealed products. Aldi proves something important. You don't need a massive selection to deliver solid quality. You just need to do a few things well. 16. Sprouts Farmers Market. Finally, Sprouts Farmers Market. Sprouts positions itself around fresh, natural, and health-focused products, and that extends to its meat department. You'll often find options like grass-fed beef, organic poultry, and minimally processed products. That appeals to customers who care about sourcing and ingredients. Another strength is freshness and display quality. Sprout stores tend to emphasize presentation, clean layouts, well-organized sections, clear labeling, and those details matter because they reflect how seriously a store takes its products. There's also a balance between price and quality. It's not as expensive as premium chains like Whole Foods, but still offers better sourcing than many budget stores. That middle ground is where Sprouts stands out. So after everything we've covered, the stores you should avoid, and the ones that consistently deliver better quality, there's one thing that becomes very clear. Where you buy your meat matters more than most people realize. Because on the surface, everything can look the same. Similar packaging, similar pricing, similar appearance. But behind the scenes, it's completely different. Different sourcing, different storage, different handling, and those differences don't always show up until it's too late. Until you open the package, until you cook it, until you taste it. And here's the truth. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because once you understand what to look for, you stop guessing, you start noticing, you start choosing better, and that changes everything. Now the next time you walk into a grocery store, you won't just grab the first package you see. You'll pay attention. You'll look at turnover. You'll notice how it's stored. You'll think about where it came from. Because the smartest shoppers don't just look at price. They look at value, quality, and trust. Now I want to hear from you. Which store do you trust the most for buying meat? And which one have you had a bad experience with? Drop it in the comments. Because your experience might help someone else make a better choice. And if you made it this far, you already know something most people don't. Good meat isn't just about the cut, it's about the source.